PTSD and me. So, for the past 4 days, I've been doing a little challenge over on my Facebook and Instagram pages where we do 25 push-ups, do a live or do a video, post it on Instagram, to basically spread awareness for post-traumatic stress disorder. You do it for 25 days, 25 push-ups. So it got me thinking, after doing my push-ups tonight, I do a video. I'll try and keep it short and sweet, but I tend to blabber on. And the purpose of the video is to further highlight post-traumatic stress disorder, but to hopefully give you a bit of hope as well if at present you're in a dark place, and especially if you feel that you're stuck in that dark place and that you're not going to be able to get out of it. If that is the case, you need to continue to listen. I've been running a fitness business for the past 4 years. The name of it is Mind Body Training, and my objective with the thing is to hopefully help people tap into and transform their mind, to strengthen it, and to use fitness as the vehicle to do that. And that's pretty much my objective with the work that I do. And the idea of mind body training, of not just training the body and trying to make it look better for Instagram or for blah blah blah, but to simultaneously work on the mind. Where that originated from was from my own journey. I was, prior to setting up my business, I was in a dark place mentally. I was physically not in good shape, very very weak, very very fragile, and what got me to that place, I still don't feel comfortable going into in detail. So since setting up my business, I've been doing videos like this every day, most days. Most of the videos are discussing mental health and sharing tips on how to deal with it. Yeah, very 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 few of them discuss my own journey, and the ones that do only discuss them vaguely and briefly. I've never felt ready to come out in detail to share the specifics of my own little story, because there's a lot of specifics, a lot of details, a lot of interesting details, a lot of strange details, a lot of scary details, a lot of details, and I still don't feel comfortable doing a video, getting into them. I want to do it, but I don't think it's the right time to do it at the moment. However, I think it's important that regarding PTSD or mental health in general, I think it's important that we continue to highlight it. So after me push-ups tonight, I said, right, do a video, share a small part of your story, of your journey, which hopefully might give someone the hope that they too can get through what they may perceive in this present moment to be a quicksand situation. So you're stuck where you're at mentally and emotionally. You're stuck there. You think that, and anyways, if that is the case, hopefully this little story gives you that hope that you're not stuck there. So when I was 16, nearly 17, I was put on risperidone, and risperidone is basically to treat severe anxiety but also schizophrenia, and that's what I was put on them for. Now, I wasn't diagnosed with schizophrenia, but I was showing symptoms of schizophrenia. I was hearing stuff, the audio aspects of it, hearing things. My phone was ringing, I was having conversations with my mates, and I'm on the phone and stuff, and I'm seeing people, I'm shouting out my window, come here. Right, so the visual, audio, very very delusional, is showing the main symptoms of schizophrenia. Now, those symptoms didn't just come about in and of themselves. They were induced by drugs, so they were drug-induced psychotic episodes that I was having. I was taking drugs regularly, and some of the drugs that I was taking regularly from time to time would send me completely off my marbles. I'd lose complete control of my mind, of my actions, and become very, very delusional and quite dangerous as well in those moments. I'm not necessarily talking about other people, although I was. I'm talking more so for myself. Anyways, I was put on after my second psychotic episode, which was my last. I was put on risperidone, and when I was putting them, I was told that there's a possibility I might have to take them for the remainder of my life, and that was a scary old thought for me. And to cut a long story short, right, that was when I was 16, nearly 17. I'm past my mid-20s now. I'm off those medication those tablets 6 years now. I think it's 5 or 6 years. I didn't decide to take myself off them, although I wanted to come off them. It was a slow process with work between me psychiatrist and myself weaned me off them. But yeah, and I believe I'd be still on them now, and I'd be if I wasn't dead, right, I'd be still on them now. I'd be in a very dark place, very, very delusional, off me rocker. If I didn't start looking after my mind and body, beginning to do small things, both physically and mentally, that increases the likelihood of those episodes happening again, or decreases the likelihood, I should say. So that's what I really began to do when I moved down my flats. I said, right, I need to make a transition. I was still on them tablets, and as I slowly began to get myself into a better routine, I began meditating, began to read, began to exercise, not every day but most days. Cleaned up my diet, not completely, still a lot of shit in it, but I cleaned it up a lot, drinking a lot more water, just doing simple things, and set myself goals. So I failed my junior cert, don't have a leaving cert. I was thrown out of school those years, especially as I began to turn about 17, 18, I started to really go a bit cuckoo. So I was thrown out of school, so I don't have a leaving cert. So when I moved, I began to make the transition to better my life. I set some goals for myself to try and give myself the opportunity to get myself on the straight and narrow, to get a bit of work. If I don't have a leaving cert or a junior cert, I'll struggle to get work. So I started setting all these little goals for myself and slowly walking towards them. And as I began to get closer to them, as I began to make progress towards them, not even closer to them, but began to make progress step by step, the more meat dosages began to decrease for risperidone, and then eventually I was taken off them, and I haven't touched them since. Haven't felt the need to touch them since. And if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm not certain, but I'm quite confident that I won't have to take them ever again. You know, it's easy to think that when we're in situations like that, when we're in the depths of it, we can think we're stuck there for the rest of our lives. I most certainly did think it, and there was a few occasions where I just wanted to tap myself, especially this was after moving up to my house. I kind of had a bit of I smoked a joint, to be honest. Shouldn't have smoked. I smoked a joint. That sent me a bit cool. Had a very, very bad panic attack. Went to the hospital. I thought it was a heart attack. Went up to the hospital. They said, your body is fine, mister. They said, your head isn't, but your brain's basically telling your body, if you have any more cannabis, you are going to continue to have panic attacks, and maybe even worse, you might trigger another psychotic episode. So I said, right, I'm done with the joints now. And I went down to see a psychiatrist in the Dublin 12 area a couple of days after that, and he done a full evaluation. Now, although I was told it was a panic attack in the hospital, I thought that, right, I'm at the triggering the psychotic episodes again. So I thought, like, right, I'm at the stepping over that line, that thin line once again, and what if I don't come back? So I done they done a full evaluation of me. I was there for like 4 hours or something. They had a student psychiatrist or something interview me first, and then went in to see the main dude. And then they put me back in the waiting area and said, right, we'll call you back in when we're ready. And I can remember sitting there, and I said, if I go in there and they tell me that I'm diagnosed with schizophrenia, I'm going to walk out of here. My father was with me. I'm going to get away from my father, and I'm going to take my own head off. So that's the thought that was going through my mind in there. I thought I was stuck for the rest of my life. He calls me in, and he said, yeah, your mind is fine. It's just you had a very, very bad panic attack, and the way it triggered it. And he said, you know what to do. Just stop smoking. So I was like, right, done. The pleasure or the pain associated with not smoking it is nothing compared to the pain that I know I would have continued to experience if I continued to smoke it. So I stopped it there and then. And since then, life has been good, but I've still had my ups and downs. I can be quite irritable. Sometimes I can be a bit snappy. And a lot of the symptoms remain, and a lot of the symptoms are the ones associated with PTSD. My main issues right now wouldn't be low mood or anything like that. Wouldn't necessarily be anxiety. Me anger, I've got a good control over that now through meditation. But my main issues would be forgetfulness. I'm very, very forgetful, and I get very, very confused when it comes to trying to juggle too many things at once. I get very flustered and very irritable, very frustrated. So that's one of my main ones. Hypervigilance. I'm still very, very aware of my surroundings. I'm not afraid or scared to put myself in certain environments. That's usually a big symptom with post-traumatic stress disorder. So I don't feel the urge to avoid situations that potentially might bring back memories, or seeing people that might bring back memories. Where I'm at now is I'll walk anywhere on my own, whereas when I was younger I wouldn't walk anywhere on my own. I was afraid. I was a bit of a pineapple. I'd go around in my little gang of mates. Rough exterior, very, very squidgy and soft interior, whereas now I still have my insecurities like everything else, but I walk anywhere on my own. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind who I see from my past. It doesn't bother me one bit. But at the same time, I'm still always vigilant. So even when I'm sitting here at home, I'm still scanning my environment. It's like a habit. And when I'm walking down the road, I'm scanning my environment. When I'm in crowded places, I'm scanning the environment. Although consciously fear isn't there, it might be there. It obviously is there subconsciously, or some form of anxiety. But that would probably be one of the main symptoms. I'm very hyper aroused, and I can find it very hard to switch off. Sometimes another symptom. It doesn't have to be loud mood or anxiety. It could be very jumpy. So mind becoming very, very fragmented. So I could write that up my to-do list in the morning, and I could have 9 o'clock you do this, 10 o'clock you do this, 11 o'clock you do that. I could start 9 o'clock's task at 9, and at 9:15 move on to 10 o'clock's task. And when I get halfway through and nearly finished 10 o'clock's task, I'll go back to 9 o'clock, or I'll skip until 1 o'clock. So I find it very, very hard to focus from time to time, and to singularly focus my mind. But yeah, it doesn't really bother me in comparison to where I was at probably 10 years ago, in the darkest place in my life. Psychotic episodes, afraid to walk down the road, afraid to walk out of my house, afraid to get on a bus, afraid of a lot of things. And when I done those things, I ensured that I wasn't on my own. Whereas now, a lot less fear, a lot less anxiety, anger. It takes a lot to anger me. When I get angry, I can really lose it. But I have a lot of control over managing me impulses, so I'm less impulsive. So usually there's a trigger that there's something in your environment that triggers your anger. My trigger response is a lot broader now than I was, or it's a lot longer, I should say, than I was. Maybe I would have reacted to something that potentially triggers anger in the matter of seconds, whereas now it could take me a couple of minutes, a couple of hours, even a couple of days. But yeah, so that's just some of it. I don't like going into these things in too much detail. Social media is a great tool to help people, but at the same time there's a lot of idiots on it, such as personal trainers like myself. Not everyone, probably not even most, but there's a lot of people that do these videos, pity purposes, likes and stuff like that, and using mental health as like a form of fashion, or something that's fashionable, or look at me type of thing. And that's just something I never wanted to be associated with. That's not my reason as to why I haven't came out fully and discussed it. Again, I don't feel comfortable. There's lots of details which I'm not able to share, like in with the way where I am right now in life. I think a few more years I can get into things in a lot more detail, but yeah, that's basically that. You're not stuck. There is hope. Just try yourself to put your best foot forward and to do things that increase the likelihood of your mental well-being improving, while decreasing the likelihood of your mental health becoming ill to some degree, you know. So that's basically that. If you have a friend or a family member that might gain something from this video, some insight or some hope, some inspiration, whatever it may be sure to send it over to him. It was videos like this, I believe, that saved my life, in fairness. Just looking for stuff online to help me, and coming across videos such as this, people sharing their own experiences and tips that they use to help themselves. That's what changed and saved my life. So you never know, this video could reach the right person at the right time, and you never know. So get sharing it, and yeah, keep the faith.